I like how it's like tutorials can be reviewed from the pause menu. Here, at the final battle, we tell you this important note. Right, you didn't.
What did this? Yeah. What are you waiting for?
I figure I was just gonna let him eat me a couple times.
Oh,
Nice.
That was one bullet too many.
Oh, you killed the real Ruvik, maybe.
Ow. What?
I told you it's the Matrix.
It's basically the.
Pull it out. Pull it out.
Hmm.
That hurts.
Come on. Dude, stand up. Don't be a baby.
I created this world. You cannot keep me here.
Still?
Ruvik. I'm going to finish this.
Just fucking break it.
Oh, that's his brain.
Yeah. Stomp it.
Stop it!
Stomp it. Give me some satisfaction, please. Yeah! Yeah!
Whee!
Fucking stomp it. I was almost thinking he was gonna punch it.
Vital sign, sir.
Leave
Hey,
that
look
one.
who it is.
And those two. They're not going anywhere.
The woman?
Yeah,
Who's that?
it's the nurse.
No one can.
Oh, I see. Hmm? Is he just taking a bath? Oh, wait, no.
Dead man. Dead man. No brain in a jar.
What does it?
I think that's what he's gonna go to. Huh? I don't know. Who's in the bag?
Leslie.
Leslie. So Leslie was dead?
Or something.
So, what's the plot summary of this game? You came here on an actual call,
Or did you?
and Ruben, I guess, took you over
Or did he?
and put you into those stuff. Ruvik, not Ruben.
Detective,
Well, his
Are
name
you
was
alright?
Ruben.
Oh,
is there
right.
anyone else?
Just give me some real fresh air.
So then who killed these people? Because I thought Ruvik was dead and he couldn't come to the real world.
Who knows?
Or maybe he brought them all into his world and killed them, so they just
Is
died.
this the
Yeah.
real world?
Yeah? Just let that patient walk down the middle of the road. Is it really... Okay, I was about to say, is there going to be an extended thing where I, like, beat Leslie to death because he's got Ruvik in him or something?
That'd be fun.
I hate to live next to this place.
Because of the
Fucking light, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cheaper.
Why do you have a beacon in the middle of the city?
Hey, you did it.
Final bit. Congratulations. Love you.
Well. That's that.
So, do you think I hated it?
No.
He complains about it.
It's got a lot of problems. Do you deny it?
No.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, when you're playing, you mention the problems over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Maybe you should cut that
Maybe
together.
because it's an annoyance.
Yeah, I just feel like when I play a game and I have issues with it, you're like, you're overreacting. That's not bad. That's not, you're just playing it wrong. And then when it's the opposite, you're like, why are you on this game's dick so much?
Well, that's,
That I agree.
it's definitely a different experience when... Wait, you agree with what, Sid?
I agree with when Sid playing Shadow of the Dead, he's like, oh, I don't like this taking my control. And you're like, oh, it's just teaching you stuff in the beginning. And now the situation reversed.
Yeah.
You're like complaining about the game. And like, I mean, I like it though. It's like a different angle.
I don't know. I feel like when you're in the driver's seat, you can't give like an outside perspective where you're like you're just kind of in the emotion, I guess, because you're just seeing from the outside. Like, why are you reacting so much?
Well, but you did repeat about the ammo stuff.
Well, that
every week. Every fight.
Okay.
I feel like it's the kind of thing that, like, the kind of system that maybe you'd get used to if you were just, like, playing the game. Not, like, in these, like, weekly sections.
Yeah.
But then, like, when you play it so infrequently, and this one's especially has been super infrequent,
Yeah.
because it's, like, once every 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
that we play this game, that it's, like, relearning the way the game works every time,
Yeah.
and having to deal with that frustration again every time.
Yeah. I think that might be why it kept coming up. I kind of forgot about it. I don't know. I think it's really bizarre that they are so like ammo conscious, but it seems strange that they like load you up with lots of weapons. It's like an ultimate cock tease. Like, oh, I got all this cool stuff. You can't use any of it. You start shooting people with your pistol again, or punch them in the face extendedly. There's even like so much upgrade path for like increasing your capacity, but there's not drops enough to justify it ever.
Yeah, I remember that part is weird, but like what stands out to me when I like remember playing it is that like I remember always feeling like I was almost out of ammo, but always like just getting through every fight.
Well, it's because they stack the ammo to help you out when you're running out. But I feel like there should be... It seems to be all random drops. Like, not random placement, but they have, like, if you're low on ammo, then they'll spawn in more.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I liked that because it was different from other games that I've played of this type where I just sort of got to choose what weapon I wanted to use the whole time. Whereas in this game, I just like had to use every weapon.
Okay.
And
You can view like your ammo capacity as a durability gauge in a way, and so like with okay, how can I put it? So like Breath of the Wild got a lot of flack for the people who didn't like the having to like constantly switch out weapons and stuff. But for me, that's part that makes the combat exciting. That you got to constantly be improvising. But it doesn't work as well here for a couple reasons. I like the idea of like needing to scrounge for bullets and picking off, but in Breath of the Wild, if you're like losing, you can just leave. Here, it's a bunch of like set combat tunnels or set pieces where once you go through your ammo, you just like have nothing left to throw at them except punching them.
Well, I think this is sort of a demonstration of like the fundamental different ways that you and I enjoy games and why this kind of thing appeals to me and maybe not to you. Whereas like when I go through a game, I like to start on a hard difficulty because I like to like feel a struggle in the engagements. And I know that you like to like get through the game to an extent. So like I enjoy these because I don't mind like dying a bunch of times in this sort of setting. Whereas like in like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff, it can get frustrating for me because those are the kinds of games where you're like meant to do that initially, and I can end up throwing myself against the same problem over and over again using something that doesn't work. Whereas in here, it's like you go into a situation and like you try to solve it with the ammo you have, and then you're like, maybe you die and you're like, okay, well, I need to like make a couple more of those shots and maybe I can like knock that guy over and like get a match off on him. And then like you die a bunch of times, but then at the end it works and you feel sort of cool for having like gotten it with the pieces you had left.
I think that this game is hinting at that system. It's just not really quite there yet because like the parts that you use can only be used to make the agony crossbow bolts, but they're so infrequent and the crossbow bolts are so expensive that like you could be like planning, okay, I'm gonna make like this for that, and there are games that do that kind of thing properly, but I feel like this is like a not quite their version of that where you could view like, oh, I'm gonna do it this way, and I think honestly the best stuff that this game's offered was using the traps and things like the matches against enemies.
Yeah.
So like if I could craft like traps so that I could have a little bit more crowd control, because all I can do is craft ammo, which all I can really do with that is back away and try to hit my shots. I can't, like, for such a trap focused game, it's just you deal with traps and enemies, where I don't know, like the agony crossbow is like a rudimentary version of setting traps, but you just can't. You can maybe do like 1 or 2 explosive traps, which might hit 1 or 2 enemies. There's just not a whole lot that you can do from there. I'm not finished. What I would want to see in the next one is like if they could bring that and make that more complete of a system. Because okay, so you're like, okay, I have this much ammo. That kind of reminds me of like a game like Doom, where you take a lot of damage, but when you rip and tear an enemy, you get that health back. So it's a bouncing back and up and down, up and down. This, it's just straight down, and then you find some ammo and you're up again, and then it's just straight down again. So you feel kind of like impotent, like I can't use these weapons that I have, and I don't know. There were some real low points, like when I was on the bridge and I had to deal with those multiple enemies, and it makes for an interesting situation. But I don't think that was intended. Anyways, you want to say?
I was just gonna say, like, I like not like planning like for a situation and saying I want to use this, and this, but like going into a situation, suddenly realizing you're in it and like being like, okay, this is my resource evaluation. This is what I have. How can I make this work with what I have? not like how can I craft like a situation to what I want to do. And I get that can be frustrating if it's not what you're interested in, but I just feel like it's a different experience from most other games of the type, where you're granted a lot more freedom in how you approach a given situation. And that's not necessarily, I'm not necessarily saying that's better. I'm just saying that I liked that about this game, because like it's not an experience I'd had with other games. And actually, the comparison to Doom, I think, is apt, because I think playing the 2016 Doom, that involves a lot of like weapon switching as well, and that game does it much better than this one, because this game's sort of clunky in its like execution of movement and aiming and stuff.
Yeah, the clunkiness is what gets me, because it feels like that kind of trap focus would work better on a slower paced game. Like Resident Evil 4 was a slower paced game, and it had more like of that like planned shots. I'm gonna get them right in the knee, and the enemies were slow because that was the point of the game. But here it's like the enemies move around so jankily that like even if I'm setting what I felt were pretty decent shots, they just kind of, the enemies move around so much that you can't quite do it. I kind of got that feeling from Resident Evil 5, where they sped up the enemies, but they still had you slow as fuck.
And Resident Evil 7.
And Resident Evil 7 did it better, because no, Resident Evil 7 was comparatively way slowed down. But 5 was
like
super
that
clunky.
the like janky enemy movement is sort of like a contemporary thing.
Sure.
Because like people were getting too good at just shooting enemies in the head, I think. Yeah, no, I think that's true. And one of the issues that I had with Resident Evil 4 playing it was that like, and this is an issue I had with Dead Space too. I think both of those games had that thing where they would like reward you ammo for the weapon that you were using primarily, which is cool in a game setting where you're constantly upgrading one weapon path. But it's also sort of like, it takes a little bit of the like survival out of the survival horror feeling, where it's like, oh man, I'm stuck in this terrible situation with these limited resources and weapons, but because I chose to upgrade these weapons, I always have enough ammo for them to get through most situations. And maybe a couple times I was a little clumsy and I had to switch to a different weapon and use a few shots, but otherwise I can get through almost every encounter with like my chosen weapon.
But you're also upgrading stuff here, but you're spread out so thin, and I don't know, the upgrade system didn't really feel quite fitting here. Like, if they wanted to give me an upgrade system, it's like, okay, I'm going to be specializing in something, but you really can't. You end up specializing in nothing. Mostly that's just there for like putting in your stats. Why is this like so janky? Like the frame rate's suddenly plummeting just to view these single models. It's strange.
Who knows? They're amiibos.
Yeah. Yeah. All these interesting characters. I like the physics on it, but I don't know why it's suddenly dying like that. Anyways, that's the girl? Oh, okay. Oh, she died in a fire.
Yeah, Ruvik's sister.
Yeah. Anyway, there are some interesting points and some really, really low points. I personally would play it again, but I would play the sequel just to see, are they able to make it better than before? Scarred. Oh my. Wow. Young adult Ruben. Alter ego? Huh?
Whee!
Okay. Oh, is that the guy who had two heads? Something?
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that enemy a lot. I liked a lot of the bosses. I liked a lot. Octopus Guy was probably my favorite moment. Laura. Oh, that's the creature, Laura. Oh, yeah. Quell. Yeah. Anyway, this is going on long enough. Do you have any final thoughts, Sid?
It's.
I think because I was angry and complaining in the moment, you made me think I'm more down on it than I would. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. It's okay. Had good parts, had bad parts. I feel like they could improve a lot. That's really cool.
I give it a 6 out of 10 because it's like it's got a lot of weird stuff, but I would say that it's better than the average game that attempts this sort of stuff. Like it's graphically it's pretty good. Gameplay wise, it's okay. It's got some really good moments. The plot is just fucking nonsense, probably.
Awfully told with awful characters.
Yeah, but like
there's one for animals.
Some of it's like just super satisfying, like when you shoot and like blow a chunk of someone's head off. That feels great.
Maybe it'll be way better in the sequel.
I heard the sequel was a lot better.
Okay, well, maybe I'll get what I want from it.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I don't know. Well, I like high penetration. Or deep penetration is maybe what I was thinking of. Anyway, thanks everybody.
That's something to end on. All right. See you next time.